Back, mate.
Back.
Been a while.
We've not done an engine room vid for a while, have we?
We haven't. I've got slag for it as well.
So here we are.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going. We're not talking about engines either. Any engine room, not engines. So no, I thought we'd do turbos, or better put, my new turbos. So these are for my R8. I bought these before I bought the car.
Excellent.
So to be fair, we've always got a set sat on the shelf anyway because we're always turning turbo kits over. So these are precision engineering. Precision engineering? Yeah. Precision turbo mirror image 6266s. And if I refer to my cheat sheet, a 6266 means a 62mm compressor inducer and a 66mm turbine exducer. So basically, that's 62mm and that's 66mm. Then the parts inside the wheel then. So on the compressor wheel it's an 82mm exducer, and on the turbine wheel it's a 74mm inducer. Now if you have no idea what turbos mean, I've just spilled a load of crap at you. Yeah. It's the size of the wheels. So the best way to describe a turbo is you've obviously got exhaust energy that is driving the turbine wheel, and through a common shaft that then drives the compressor wheel. And when you start playing with wheel sizes, your exhaust treat your exhaust flow as a constant. You then affect how much airflow you move on the inlet side. So think of it like gears in a bike. Is the best way to describe it. If the common shaft is the chain, your driven wheel and your driving wheel, when you change those sizes, you affect how much airflow you move. That's really simplified because the more airflow you move on the inlet side, the more airflow you move on the exhaust side. So it's always changing. But yeah, they are rated at 735 horsepower turbo. And they do pretty bloody well on our stuff. So the most we've run is a bar of boost, really, and they do well over 1,000 horsepower. So
they're not at all stressed.
They're out of the bottom of their efficiency. So they have what's known as an efficiency map, which is how much airflow is into it, and your your shaft speed, and then how much airflow they can move. And we're out at the bottom of the map. A turbo's not designed to run at that low pressure or that low inlet pressure. So we actually gate quite a lot. When I say gate, we waste a lot of the exhaust energy past the turbo by opening a wastegate because we have to. So if the wastegate's slammed shut, then all the exhaust energy has to drive the turbine wheel. When it drives all the turbine, then that's when you build your boost. So you use your wastegate to control your turbo speed. And then I can log it with this. So on James's original kit, we did a load of logging on turbo speed, and then the Gen 2 time attack car has got turbo speed, and I just want to be a geek. So I want to play more with it. But what this does is it measures turbo shaft speed. And then the MoTeC logs that information and you can look back at it, because every turbo has a safe operating window, and when you drive a turbo too hard, so when you push too much airflow or push your shaft speed too high, you put the turbo at risk. And I know we're never there, but I just want to sort of gather more data, because this is going to go hand in hand with the combustion pressure analysis we're doing as well. So we look at exhaust manifold pressure, so the pressure between the back of the exhaust valve and the front of the turbine wheel. So we measure that. We measure the boost pressure, so what the turbo creates. Then we measure the combustion pressure, and all those create ratios. So the problem with the V10 platform is when you turbo it is your ratio is ultimately upside down. So pick a car, say a 2 litre Golf R that you run to 2 bar boost. You got 2 bar boost pressure, and you'll be floating around anywhere between 1.8 and 2.5 bar of exhaust pressure. So your ratio across your engine is almost 1-to-1. You want it above that. You want more inlet pressure than you want exhaust pressure. The problem with the V10s is it's upside down. We only have 0.8 bar of inlet pressure or bar of inlet pressure, but we're closer to like 2 bar of exhaust pressure. So the ratio across the engine is upside down. So the engine has to work harder to exhaust, which drives a turbo. But then you're trying to waste that energy because you don't want to make all that boost. So it's understanding that ratio and how you can make it all efficient. We're going for a take 2, mate.
Take 2. Camera's fixed.
Camera's fixed. I've lost my train of thought now. You ruined it. We got really geeky about engine pressure ratios.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have. I think the best way to show it is with some data. So maybe with my new camera that I have purchased. Proper vlogger now, mate.
That's it.
What is it? Sony Vlogcam Pro or something I bought. You told me to get.
Yeah, a ZV-1 as they call it in the States.
ZV-1.
Or a ZV-1 in this country.
I haven't had it. You've been at home filming all the porn with it.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
To wipe that memory card.
I do. Left the videos in for me.
Anyway.
Yeah. Moving on. I've wanted to do some data videos for a while, and I can't get a program to record my screen. So I need to figure that out. I'm sure someone put it in the comments a while back of a good one.
Some of the gamers.
Yeah, and I found one, and I'm not against paying for one that does what I want. I did find one that was free, and I used it. But the problem is when you open like the MoTeC program, and then when you want to change channels or add channels into login, it opens another window, and the screen camera program didn't record that opening window. It only recorded the main I2 screen. So I watched it back afterwards, and half of what I did wasn't even on screen because it. So, I focus a lot on exhaust manifold pressure, and I kind of always have, because it tells you a lot about what the engine's having to do, what it's having to work through, and the resistance or how much energy is wasted by the engine in trying to scavenge the combustion chamber on the exhaust cycle. If you've got 2 bar of exhaust pressure because of how you're driving your turbos or your turbo sizing or higher, then when you start opening the exhaust valves, you've got it's like preload on a spring. You've got to be over 2 bar to start clearing the combustion chamber. So when you're right at the top of the exhaust stroke and the valve's starting to shut down again, where you would normally get a crossover and reversion, you're constantly pushing out, and you get reversion back in, which is why then you start seeing on certain cars we pull apart, you start seeing sooty inlet valves, and it's not just that, but it's one where your pressure ratio across your engine is wrong or not right, and your valve timing and stuff like that. So it's something I kind of probably get a bit geeky about. On the engine side, I geek out about how much friction we lose in the bottom end or don't lose, so what a breakaway torque is. And then on the calibration side and this sort of side, we look at exhaust manifold pressure a lot, and that all stemmed from a twin charge build I did. My friend built the car and we compounded it, and we had the exhaust manifold pressure at like 0.6 bar, and I was running 3 bar boost on the inlet, but because the supercharger was doing a lot of the work, it was almost pulling the turbo on, so the turbo was helping scavenge in the exhaust side. So it was a really interesting project.
What car was that?
So that is Don's 4G63 Evo 5. I think it's up in the office, the black one.
Yeah. We'll drop a picture in of that.
Yeah, I got a video kicking around. He raced it the other week actually, so we retook his record at a hill climb in Scotland. So the thing's frightening. It makes 3 bar boost at 2200 RPM. Honest to God, it's the scariest thing. Yeah, it's terrifying. And he's built it all himself in his shed. I built the loom. I put it on PDMs, MoTeC dash, ECU, wrote the firmware because it's twin charge control. So yeah, we did quite a lot with that car. It's quite cool. But it kind of opened my eyes to that, the pressure, how it's almost a key to power.
Yeah.
Just another little bit in the learning curve, I suppose.
It just goes to show that you get information from different areas, different cars.
Yeah. I mean, it's you start off when you start tuning, like you think, right, okay. Well, the only two variables I've got when I'm tuning are ignition and fuel, and to a point that's right. But then as you get, say, into a more complicated engine or a more complicated engine management system, your variables of what you can then achieve are different. So say for example, we were playing with the twin turbo stuff, and I spent ages and ages on the new Gen 2 just playing with secondary injection. So obviously they've got 10 DI injectors and then 10 secondary injectors, upper injectors. And you would think, let the uppers do all the work, take all the load out of the DI, drop the pressure on the DI system, and then let the secondaries do all the work. And the car doesn't like it. It just completely narrows your knock window. So I actually run into knock quicker than I would have done if I was just purely DI. So that was quite interesting as well, how much it doesn't like relying purely on the secondaries or having secondaries heavy. Whereas the bike stuff, like my BMW, at high RPM, the lowers are like off. It's all in the secondaries because then you've got the length to atomize the fuel. So it is interesting how different engines like different things. Or a lot of the boys in America are running 64, 66s, so they're bigger compressor wheels. The reason I didn't go that way is I'm not using the airflow anyway. So what's the point in having a bigger wheel and moving more airflow for the same shaft speed? Because it just means then I've got to gate my turbo down. The engine can only take so much air. If you only want 0.8 bar boost, the engine can only take so much air. So then I think on a 64 you'd be gating the turbo more, and I'm already gating it quite a lot anyway for what we want. So yeah, it's they're dual ceramic ball bearing cores. They're oil cooled only. They're not water cooled. When we were using the Owens turbos, they were water cooled, but it makes it a very complex system in the plumbing. Shall I remove my warranty cards because we don't need those anymore?
Won't be needing those.
So we were running teal gates, waste gates, and then Owens GBT35s, which were water cooled. So we had the whole setup was water cooled, and it made it super complex with plumbing, with additional water pumps to push the water through the turbos. We had these really nice billet manifolds to manifold off the water out and in, and we didn't need it. So it was just completely overcomplicated. Then everybody wanted the mirror image. So if you notice, if I do it that way, they're upside down. So these are the turbo drains, and they're the oil feeds underneath, but they're mirror image. So when you bolt them to the car on a V10, it's a real clean setup. It's a real clean install, and everybody started to go this way, or everybody wanted mirror image, and they're the only ones that do it. And to be fair, they're real nice turbos. So I've not really done, until we got onto this project, we've not really done much with precision turbos. It'd always either been Garrow or Owens. But these have been unreal. They're really nice.
So what's the plan with the project then? Because obviously we've put a couple of vids together of you sort of introducing the R8 project.
Yeah. So I didn't just want to buy it and then turbo it for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to do some bits and pieces. If there's 1,000 R8 Gen 2s, and there's a lot more, but if there's 1,000 R8 Gen 2s in the country, how many people are going to turbo them? So then, yeah, I want to do the crazy build, but also I want to do the stuff where, say, 99% of my clients would be. So I drove it at Bedford, which we've had a chat about. I drove it at Bedford, and I know the geometry was not optimal going in, but now I've driven it on track. All right, it was wet, but I can at least now go, we normally change it for this, I've driven it and this is why.
You've got a benchmark.
Yeah, and then I'm at Coombe Monday afternoon, so I'm going to support a client who's got a race car dyno with MoTeC on, and he was like, I'll just go in to test it. So I'm going to go and test it in a dry at Coombe, a track I know really well, and then we'll have another play. But I'm going to put my camber shims on it and some geometry into it before I go. It's on P4S's. I've got a tracker to go on it, and so this now is MetaTrack, which is Audi approved, so they don't do Cobra Track anymore, they do this. So I was going to put a tracker in it, and obviously I can't show you how I put the tracker in, but I can show you what this is and what that looks like. You know, I wanted to, MoTeC want to come down and put the MoTeC kit on, and I want to run it NA. I don't just want to bolt the turbos on and then bolt the engine management on at the same time, and just in one big video I've gone from having 600 horsepower to 1000 horsepower.
Yeah.
So I want to put the MoTeC on first. We've got a Syvecs 4-wheel drive controller to go on it. I've got my big Plex combustion analysis tool, so we've got that to go on it, and just do some bits before I turbo it, and then we'll turbo it through a winter. What's the point in taking it off the road now? The other side of that is, the second you push the car to that level, if I want to go and say tune traction control in MoTeC, I just put a lot more at risk. I'm pushing the car a lot harder, or I'm producing a lot more power. Whereas when it's doing 600 horsepower, I can go and play with launch control, and I know it will take it all day long. So I can play with things at a slower pace, if that makes sense. I can play with settings and not have the gearbox on the limit all the time, or have the engine on the limit all the time, because bloody hell, launching those things with 1000 horsepower, it's just going to want to try and throw trans out the back.
Yeah.
MoTeC have kindly, which again we've got a video to come out about that, MoTeC have kindly donated all the fluids for the car, so I was going to do a bit of a, with my new vlogging camera, a bit of a how to service your R8. Not talking myself out of clients, but some people are going to want to do it, especially as they're getting older. So, you know, how we drain the fluids, what we do, that sort of thing. So I just wanted it to be a bit more of a story and play with the things I wanted to play with, rather than just go Bosch is naturally aspirated one day to Bosch is turbo.
It's also the kind of stages that you'd expect owners would do.
Yeah.
You know, most people aren't going to jump into a twin turbo conversion from a stock car.
No.
They're going to do a few little bits first.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, unless you're pretty gnarly, yeah, you're going to buy it and you're going to build up to it, like all our other clients have done. They've had the car a couple of years, or they've done this, they've done that, and it's always been a step in their ownership. So that's the idea. I kind of wanted to do some track days too, and the second you turbo it, it limits what days you can get on because of the noise. And then things like, it's going to my friends next week to have harness bar done. We were going to go and do run what you brung at Time Attack. So, you know, and when the second you've kind of gone turbo, you can limit your options, because I don't want to put silencers on the bloody thing. My plan is I got a perf bumper to go on it, and I want to do perf exit on an R8 and blend it all in, blend the bumper in real nice so it looks like it came out of the factory with the Performante bumper on it. Carbon front splitter to go on it, and the side skirts, and just make it look a little bit more Larry. But yeah, so because I want to go to perf exit, I don't want to put silencers on it.
Cool. So there's a real sort of strategic plan as to how.
You say strategy, dear boy.
Yes.
It feels like seat of the pants. Seat of the pants.
Yeah, flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, we're going to document it all on the channel, good and bad.
Yeah.
You know,
the biggest reason is I haven't got the bloody time to do it all in one hit. So, yeah, I think it'd just be nice to have a bit of a play with it. the gnarly thing is, I had a client come in the other day and offered bloody buy it off me because they've got so hard to find now. And I was like, no, I've spent all this money on everything that you can buy it when it's turbo. But yeah, I think it'll be a nice little. It can be a cool little project.
So the next stage then, obviously we've looked at the turbos today. What's the next plan with it? Obviously you've got a track day on
track day Monday.
So we'll get some footage of that.
Yeah, it's going to Ben's to have a harness bar made, which one is to race and run what you brung at time attack. I need a harness bar and I need a seat. The other side of that is you can't buy them, and clients do track days and want to change their seats, and so we were going to hopefully make a harness bar we can sell. Quicksilver are sending up a Performance exhaust, so I want to do MoTeC, NA, Perf exhaust, get the bumper fitted nice, because it might not fit nice and then I might have to sack that whole idea off anyway. But I kind of want to do that bit before I decide how my exhaust layout is going to be on the turbos. And then as we go into winter then, and I'm not going to really drive it, that's when we'll do the turbo stuff. But just wanted to show you around what a pair of mirror image.
They're almost too nice to hide away, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, anybody who's into turbos, I mean, that is turbo porn right there.
The only thing missing is Owen's do real nice. They're on James's. They're called bullet nuts. So the compressor nut is bullet. So they're what do they call them? Something aerodynamics.
Yep.
Hang on, my laptop on. What do they call it? Competition engineered aerodynamics compressor wheel, machined from 2618 aluminium forging. So the wheel wouldn't take compounding, because when you compound, you obviously generate the heat and you can melt the compressor wheel, blah, 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 blah. But the only blingy thing is missing some nice bullet nuts. So I might have to have a chat with Owens and put some.
See what you can.
Yeah. But all James's kit, which is now on Chris's red manual, that all had like the proper factory bullet nuts, and it with laser etching on them and just blingy stuff. But I've had the speed sensors retrofitted, so we can fit those. Just because everybody loves data. And then James has already started fabbing everything up, so when we pull the trigger it should go pretty quick.
So just to reiterate, that's James at Push
Coxie
Performance.
Coxie.
Mr. Coxie.
He went out on his bike the other week.
Did he?
Didn't invite me.
Do you think he was concerned?
Scared, mate, is what he was. No, he wasn't. My bike is in bits.
I was going to say, would you have been allowed out?
Mate, he was fine. He was fine. I've never known anyone like him to not ride his bike for a year, go out on it, and literally be on lap record pace. I don't know whether it's bravery, stupidity, or talent, but
could be a combination.
Yeah. So James is sat at home, locked in his shed. We're in the middle of doing another Gen 2. So Matt's is back up here. We'll catch it all up in a video anyway. Matt's is back up here.
Just to re-over that, it's Matt Armstrong.
Yeah. So that's back up here, ready to go. I've got to run it on a dyno with a stock exhaust.
Okay, sorry, we're back.
Testicles free.
Camera malfunction. My bad. People don't see the glamorous side of YouTube creation.
Yeah, it's been 3 days since the last take. Better wait for the camera to cool down. We've even Googled it.
Yeah.
Camera gets hot.
And was that any use?
No. Just some guy getting flamed for asking for help. Honest to God.
It wasn't me.
Maybe we should just post that thread in the comments. That'd get love. Some guy just goes, "Oh, my camera's overheating. Has anyone got any ideas?" Someone just wrote, "Sorry, I don't believe you." The ultimate bants.
Mate, so we were talking about
I think we were talking turbos.
Yep.
And then I think then Matt's car's back up here now, so I've got to run it on a dyno, so we've got a Delta. And then Syvecs want to come up and just be involved in putting the Syvecs on, which is fine. I've just done a gearbox for one that Coxie's in the middle of fabricating. And then that's another one. Then we've got mine. I think we've just put a Gen 2 manifold on Chris's red one, so I'll calibrate that. What else is going on? I think that's about it. that's about it for turbo stuff at the minute.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's getting busy. And then company colours, mate, purple goodies.
Ooh.
So Hypergate 45 wastegate, and then race port blower valve. So purple accessories on a red car. That's what everybody needs in their life.
So red car at the moment.
I have my cheat sheet. It is red at the minute. Everyone's like, oh yeah, wrap it purple. Could do, but.
So are these available exclusively through you? Or
No, just normal. They know purple's cool, so they made them in purple. A lot of people normally go black. I don't think we've done much else. What was Coxie? I think Coxie was red. Simon was black. I think we've done blue on mix. The rest have just been black. So I just thought, do you know what, they're doing in purple, I want to see them, so ordered them in purple. But yeah, they're real nice. They do some real good stuff, to be fair. The wastegates behave a little bit better on the Pierberg valves. I just said that and nobody's going to have a clue what I mean. I don't think I've got any Mac valves kicking around, but a Pierberg valve looks more like an OEM wastegate control valve rather than the sort of a Turbo Smart block unit. They just act a little bit better, a little bit more accurately than the Mac valves. And Mac valves kind of like, when they move, they almost go with a jump, so the wastegate gets like a PID modulation in it. But you can tune it out, but I've just found the PID valves work a little bit better with these, whereas the Tars prefer the other ones. So yes, nice pretties. So you've got obviously upper and lower ports, and then water ports as well if you do want to run them. But we don't run water on these. They're bloody good. We just run Funk Motorsport jackets on the housing and on the Impel housing on turbos as well. So we work with Funk quite a bit. They're quite cool. Really good product. Fit lovely. They look good and they don't fall to bits.
Which is always handy.
Yeah. I had a Golf R with a Venom turbo on a dyno, and it had a Funk Motorsport blanket on it, and I could see the turbo housing was white underneath, and you could just put your hand on the blanket, for the thing. So, yeah, all good stuff.
Happy days. So,
I'm tired yet.
It's getting there.
Camera's
Camera's not hot though. That's the main thing.
Do you want to use my camera? Use my camera, bro.
I probably will have to.
Yeah, but. Yeah, so I know a couple of people have mentioned that the videos have kind of gone a little bit workshoppy and a less engine buildy, but to be honest, with the old forged internal arm, I haven't been able to build engines. I'm just getting back to a point now where I can put some force into it, so that's why the engine kind of stuff fell a bit static. So we've had to race to catch up engines, and then, which is one of the reasons we've bought this new camera, so I can at least try and catch some quality stuff, because relying on Davey to come up all the time when we've got something in, it doesn't always work. So
certainly when you're building stuff late at night as well.
Yeah, why can't you stand here and do it?
We'll get a few bits in.
Yeah, mate. Could you imagine the carnage? Why does this engine run backwards? So yeah, we got a couple of good builds on the go. Got a couple of cool. Don't want to drop the big project yet. We got a really cool. I think it's a cool project. Got a cool project coming up. So yeah, it'd be nice to catch a little bit. Maybe we'll still do this stuff like with Davey, but some of it will move a little bit more vloggy, where I'm with the camera. But just to try and, I think, capture a little bit more of the picture. Like everyone always says, oh, where's the dyno vids? And Davey's done the video, and I've got the GoPro footage, and sometimes it just gets a bit linked up. And I've got GoPro footage for that bloody GTO to go up as well, haven't we? Got to give you that.
Of course, cool. So I guess all that's left to do is to
say like, subscribe, hit. What's the bell button?
That's for notifications.
Is it?
So if they hit the bell, then whenever we upload new content.